And hello, so you're in there, Matt.
Yeah, hi Luke, how you doing?
Hi. Okay, so for the last couple of episodes, I kind of been saying that we're going to be having a special guest, and this is it. It's Matt. So Matt's an old friend, and we're going to be doing podcast episodes every once in a while. Who knows? Yeah, by the way, it's not going to be your only one.
Yeah, I did hear that last night on last night's episode. I was like, yeah, okay, thanks for jumping me in, but do you know what?
That's right. Don't worry, Matt. You can have a nice 2 weeks off though, because I'm on holiday. Don't forget.
Yeah, no, I heard you say that as well. So this is going to be interesting. It's my first ever podcast, thrown in the deep end, and let's see how it goes. I suppose. Really.
Yeah.
So, yeah, let's see how many gaffes and mistakes can be made during an episode. Let's see if, as this is about technology, how this technology holds out as we're over various iffy connections.
Oh, trust me. We actually just did a dry run or a run of this, and it was completely cut out on your end, I think, wasn't it?
It was my end. It's because I was
yeah,
and that was using Wi-Fi, and it's been you're off of here. You're out. Bye bye.
Yeah, it just cut you off completely. It was ridiculous.
Yeah, mobile data, and it wasn't allowing me to go on mobile data. And is it a Samsung device? Is it a web provider device? Is it, who knows? But let's see.
Yeah, let's hope it works. So, should we get into today's first story about Microsoft and Google teaming up for more web apps on the Play Store?
Let's do it. Absolutely.
Yeah, so it's fairly straightforward, really. Now, this story came courtesy of Engadget, who is reporting it courtesy of Barrett. So, you've got it being reported by two people, which does lend a bit more credibility to it, I guess, if you want to see it like that.
Yeah, sounds like you're pinching my lines, but yeah, I leave it there.
Yes, I have lines from last time. Yeah. Basically, so for those of you who don't know, Microsoft actually makes a lot of apps for Android, and it's also now building its very own Android device called the Surface Duo.
That looks really nice. Have you seen the Surface Duo?
Oh my god, it looks amazing. I really wish it's going to be so expensive though. It looks really expensive.
What a beautiful looking device though. It's like, because you've got the Surface Duo, then there's just
Neo, I think, isn't it? The Surface Neo is the other one, but that's the one that runs for Windows.
Yeah, because you've got sort of like the Chromium lap version, and then you've got like the web, then you've got the phone Android device. They're just really lovely looking.
They're lovely devices.
Yeah, I really want them.
It's a complete new way for the Surface lineup as well. Like the Surface lineup has always been this really elegant kind of device lineup. You'll see it with the Surface laptop. The Surface Studio is completely in another league to anything else I've ever seen. They're just absolutely beautiful devices. And the fact that Microsoft is now kind of bringing out these very kind of, I wouldn't say they're too unique, they have been sort of done before, but the fact that Microsoft is kind of doing it in this new way and putting their own spin, very interesting. And that is probably what's also kind of bringing this progressive web apps collaboration. So basically a small rundown of what's supposedly going on here is that apps will be built using Microsoft's PWA Builder tool, and then they will use Google's Bubble Wrap utility and library to take advantage of new features. So it will be a new standard for web shortcuts. It will allow deeper push notifications that could be quite interesting, and visual customizations. And they'll be fully downloadable through the Play Store.
Which sounds better. I mean, we were talking about these push notifications previously, weren't we? And I've always got to turn around and ask the question when it comes down to push notifications. I look at these things and I'm like, well, I mean, you mentioned it. Facebook have recently been going through the courts because obviously someone tried saying, "Listen, you're hacking. You're sending me too many notifications."
They didn't even have an account. Now, I don't know whether that was Facebook's fault. It could have been just the user who created the account simply putting in one wrong digit in their phone number.
The person didn't actually even have an account. I didn't pick up that bit.
Yeah, no, the person didn't actually have an account, so it's not actually the person who had an account. So whether it was just Facebook sending it to the wrong number completely wrong, or whether the person who had the account had just simply mistyped the number in their phone number.
Right, yeah.
It could easily be that, I don't know. But we don't know whether it is Facebook's fault explicitly.
Yeah.
But either way, push notifications are quite different, I think, to that. So that was through proper text messages.
I suppose with push notifications, you can switch them off. Yeah,
you can switch them off on a system level.
Yeah,
as well. So it's quite good for that way.
Yeah. Anyway, we digress a bit. Sorry, that was my mistake. Yeah,
no, it's fine. It's quite on point there with push notifications. One thing about push notifications, especially from the web, is that it will have to be very careful about what is allowed a notification. So things like, because this could make it a lot easier for things to start putting notifications on our phones.
This is something we've been talking about, like notifications on phones. I mean, it's one thing for applications to turn around and say this is available, that's available, or whatever it might be. But it's another thing because, I mean, we're bordering onto that line. What is a notification and what is advertising?
And what is marketing? Yeah, so, like, an example of notifications that I get, I don't really get any marketing ones, but sometimes some that I get. So, one I got today when we were about to start recording this is Matt is ready to start recording.
Yeah.
And when that came up, it said, it was like, well, that's one I wanted. I set it up for me to be alerted when people are ready to start recording with me. So that's one I've asked for explicitly.
Yeah.
And normally on Android, you have to say, yes, allow notifications, same for iOS, but sometimes it doesn't work that way. And it probably will work the same way, where you have to explicitly allow it or decline it. Personally, I kind of, so it won't be much of an issue because you'll have to say, yes, I want these notifications, but it could cause a thing. It could cause a bit of a thing with some people who just kind of allow permissions without noticing it.
And that's the one, isn't it? It's because sometimes when people are downloading apps, I mean, general users, personally, I always like to read my terms and conditions. I like to see what I'm signed up to before I hit that agree button. But most people turn around and agree to stuff without knowing, how is this going to affect me? Well, I'm going to allow you to use all my contacts. I'm going to allow you to use all this, and then I'm going to allow you to send push messages to me. Outrageous times of the morning. Yeah, at 2 o'clock in the morning. It's
It's a thing, like for me on my phone, I'll kind of install something. I'll just allow, when I'm looking at permissions, I'll be a little bit more cautious of it because permissions are very different. But when it comes down to notifications, I'll just kind of click through terms and conditions in 2 seconds. I never read it because it's a massive however many page document. And when it comes from, say, Google or Microsoft, I know they're not going to say in 10 years, like if they said in their terms and conditions in 10 years, you're going to have to pay 50 quid for every day of your life to be able to stay alive or we'll kill you. Like, they just wouldn't do that because that would be ridiculous because no one would, because the second one person saw that in the terms and conditions, no one would ever use their products again. So, there's not going to be anything ridiculous in there with massive companies. And if there is something ridiculous, you'll hear about it.
Will be soon pulled up. Absolutely. I mean, that's the thing. I mean, that's the big thing. But no, you're right. I suppose you are correct. But that's the one, isn't it? You allow. We are talking about push notifications. We're not talking about stuff which is otherworldly, are we?
Yeah, exactly. But the thing about PWAs that's got me kind of excited about this is what this could mean for just apps on Android. So. I'm going to use an example I actually used in our previous recording, which was Shobi.
So Shobi is...
It's an app that basically allows you to do work. So you can join a group with other people. So you can create a group, and then you invite people into your group. Now, it's primarily aimed at schools. But it can be useful just for general uploading things to different files and everything. It doesn't have to be a school use case. It can be useful for other things. Although there are other things that are more specifically useful for it. But one thing about Shobi is it doesn't have a native Android app, so you can't just go on the Android App Store and search up Shobi and find the app at the top. No, you have to have kind of an even remotely app-like experience, or to just have an app-like experience in general. You have to... So you go onto the Shobi website. Then you have to sign in. And then you have to press on the 3 dots, and then you have to press add to home screen, name it to Shobi. Then on my launcher, I select I want it in my app drawer, and then it will just work as a normal app. So it's not So Xiaomi haven't made it as seamless as it is on iOS, where just pop onto iOS, install it. It's very different to that.
Okay.
On Android. But what I kind of understand from this will make it a lot easier to package your web app using Google's mobile wrap utility, and then just push it through to the Play Store, and it won't really be too much effort. Is the way I kind of understand this is happening.
And that's the one, isn't it? Because this comes in line with it's about being user friendly. It's about how can you use it? Is it going to run seamless with your device? And can you just hop onto it and use it without losing information, right? And that's what we're talking about
Exactly. And is it easy for developers to access? See, one thing about developing for multiple platforms is you kind of... So I understand why Xiaomi hasn't spent a load of time developing an app specific to Android. Android isn't used much in a classroom environment. You're not as likely to see an Android tablet in a classroom. You're more likely to see an iOS, an iPad in a classroom, if you're going to see a tablet in there at all. Otherwise, you'll probably see a Chromebook or a Microsoft laptop. You're more likely to see any of those three devices than an Android device in a classroom, and with good reason. So to spend time on an Android app is not really worth it, as you won't see as much of an ROI, that's return on investment, as you would with iOS or web.
But that's where these things become big market, doesn't it? Because it's an intelligent marketing, because it's like there is a massive market waiting for some of these products to be available as apps. So if Microsoft and Google Play are teaming up to turn around and do this, it makes it more marketable, doesn't it? Because like you say, there are devices which are used more frequently because they're reliable, they're secure, they're safe, and people have been using them for some time. But when you can transport this across to other devices, and it opens the market, doesn't it? It just makes it a little bit more competitive, and it opens it up for other companies to come in line. And like you say, it is about using multi-platform devices, and it's a realm of possibilities, isn't it? Because any developer worth their salt would turn around and look at that. Am I developing specifically for iOS? Am I developing specifically for Android? But if you want the most of your product, how can I make this available for all? Because
and that's where
there's the biggest audience that you can reach, isn't it? And normally that's what programmers want. How can I reach the biggest target audience? It's one of those big arguments in life, isn't it? With tech development.
Yeah, exactly. That's where this kind of collaboration really comes in. So if your web app is already built using Microsoft's PWA Builder tool, then you can just use Google's bubble wrap utility, and it should work fairly effortlessly from the way I understand it. Because progressive web apps, they really do scale well across devices, and it does take some expert coding to do this, but Xiaomi has shown that they can do this pretty well, and I experience that on my Android device every time I use Xiaomi. So with this, it will make it a lot easier for companies that already make web apps to just bring them into the Play Store and make it more seamless for the users to download it. And they may not even have to know that they're downloading a web app. You would probably label it web app or something. There'll probably be a section of it labeled to web apps, but the fact is you wouldn't notice it in your day-to-day use. As far as I'm aware from using Xiaomi and a couple of others, you just wouldn't notice it.
I think you wouldn't. I suppose that's where programming has come in leaps and bounds, isn't it? Because once upon a time it was for standalone systems, and now we're moving into network technologies and standalone systems and home usage as well as business usage and space usage, and the realms are opening up, aren't they? Mobile usage, the availability to turn around and use it on multiple platforms. It's like lost point of what I was talking about.
It's just absolutely incredible. Like the way that technology has opened up, and now with these progressive web apps, it will really bring.
That's the one. It means that the development can advance and reach multiple users, and offer more to the general public, which is what it's about, isn't it?
Yeah. So, if I may, you see this thing with another Google product called Flutter. This is it's another SDK for developers, and I've kind of been trying to get into using it. It's not as seamless as just kind of doing it though, because previously, until literally a couple of days ago, actually, to use it on Linux, it was a lot more complicated. But now with the way that they've set it up, you can very seamlessly now develop for Linux, Mac OS, Android, and iOS, and Windows will soon be just as seamless as those two, as all of the others. They're really making it a very easy way to develop cross-platform, and this is going to make it much easier for developers who already have a progressive web app but want to bring it directly to Android. So if you want to bring it directly to Android, you just have to follow the steps that I'm sure Microsoft and Google will outline a lot more thoroughly in some proper documentation at some point when this is kind of officially fleshed out. And according to Microsoft, this is an official statement, the expanded features shouldn't require significantly more effort to implement. So it also gives creators more reasons to use Microsoft's toolkit and developers who build Android-friendly web apps instead of pointing people to generic apps inside a browser. So exactly what we've been saying all along.
It is, isn't it? Which is nice. But there is an angle here, isn't there, for Microsoft, though, because it is bringing more people back to the Microsoft banner. Those who are migrating and disappearing, across to iOS or across to Linux or whatever they might be, those who are disappearing into other areas, it's bringing them back to Microsoft, isn't it? Yeah.
It brings. It brings people much more into the Microsoft community and much more, again, back onto Microsoft's kind of platform using Microsoft devices. I've really noticed this push with Microsoft. They've become a much more services-focused company. So it's really kind of more services, just like Apple are doing. They're becoming, and Google to a certain extent, although they've already been more services. They're really using more things in collaboration with Android and iOS. They're kind of going to be available everywhere for anyone. And it's just an amazing thing to see them doing it.
Yeah, that's the one. That's what you say. It's about becoming more mainstream, isn't it? And reaching out there to your audience. Absolutely.
Yeah, I think it's just kind of incredible. Let's go on to the second story today. I think if that's okay with you, Matt. Do you think that's okay?
I think so. We just beat this one for about 17 minutes. So let's do
Yeah.
Let's
move on. We've really managed to get a lot out of one app. It's incredible how much you can talk when it's not just one of you. Unbelievable. So, do you want to introduce this one?
The second one, as I'm having technical device issues here. Are we talking about the issue with the LinkedIn profile in the case of the Russian guy? I forgot his name.
The LinkedIn Dropbox hack, yeah.
Absolutely. So, I remember this from 12 years ago, at least 12 years ago.
8 years ago. 8 years ago. 8 years ago. 2012. 8 years ago.
I recall this one when it hit the market because I read this article and I thought, well, LinkedIn, last time I saw it getting hacked was like 3 years ago, and loads of account details were shared online. It's like, how's that happened? But then this is a case which is historic, isn't it? Because it was 8 years ago, and this guy has literally only just gone to court. And I tell you what, it's because I understand the Czech Republic are wondering, are we going to ship this guy to America or to Russia to be tried? And it was a big, weighty, heavy case because it's like this guy, he's obviously got quite some programming knowledge in order to hack into, these areas, LinkedIn, etc. So, I mean, maybe there was other areas as to why these people wanted to prosecute or have a look at this guy to say, what else have you been hacking into, and tell us how you're doing it. Which is, of course, how governments and organisations want to know is, how have you just hacked into my system? You've just exposed flaws in my company. That's my online business. I need to know how you've been doing that. But this guy, he's been penalised heavily by the US courts. Have you seen what they've done to him? Or
it's up to, I literally just kind of scrolling through it again now. He's going to be sentenced on September 29th.
Yep.
And he's facing up to 10 years on prison for each count of selling stolen logins and installing malware, as well as 5 years for each count of hacking and conspiracy. So
5 years for a count and for conspiracy.
Each count of hacking and conspiracy.
You've got
one.
How many were there?
I don't know. I can't see how many there are on him. It's not showing up. But the fact is, that's at least, well, he's taken them from 2 different places, so that's at least 30 years in prison.
It was more than that. I'm sure there was like thousands. The guy is going to be dead and long gone before his spirit is released from lockup. Yeah.
He could be. We don't know. Again, we'll find out on September 29th. But this is a massive story, and it actually happened all the way back in 2012. These breaches happened. So, for those of you who don't know, there's actually more. There's actually more on here. So, in 2012.
You're right.
He stole the usernames and passwords of 170 million people.
Right, so there you go, 117 million people, and he's facing 10 years per account.
He's counted selling stolen logins. So in theory,
that's a lot of years. That's 117 million times 10, right?
That's insane. Oh my gosh! Imagine facing that amount of time possibly in prison. We don't know if he sold every single one, but that's insane.
And that's like, he's going to have to, it depends what people's worldly view or afterlives or spiritual views are. It's like he's going to have to go back to prison, go back to prison, or his spirit is going to be locked into internet cyber jail, right?
We have no idea what's going to happen.
Yeah.
And
go on. Yeah, sorry.
This is actually a quote from U.S. Attorney David Anderson. Start quote: Nicolin's conviction is a direct threat to would-be hackers wherever they may be. Computer hacking is not just a crime, it is a direct threat to the security and privacy of Americans. American law enforcement will respond to that threat regardless of where it originates, end quote. So this really does show that the US is taking cybercrime very seriously.
Well, we were talking about these things earlier, weren't we? When we were talking about terms and conditions. I mean, it's interesting that we can link in. How about that? Boom. No pun intended. We can link these together, right? And these link in because we're talking about, you look at terms and conditions of any company. It is a cybercrime to turn around, hack, manipulate, or alter this program, right?
Yeah, if that's in terms and conditions, it's done. That's as simple as it is. If that's in terms and conditions, you breach it. Lots of us probably breach terms and conditions daily without realising it. And it's a federal law. I mean, that people need to be aware of that. It is a federal law the minute you start hacking into stuff. There are companies out there that are paid. I know someone who's head of sales, and his organisation is, or he's director of sales as it goes, but his company is paid to hack into organisations and into companies' firewalls to turn around and take a look to see how safe. Vulnerabilities, right?
Sorry?
To see the vulnerabilities, right? It's called white hat hacking, I think, something like that. I think called white hacking or something.
I can't remember the term of it, but there is a specific name, and it is legal hacking. Yeah. You know, absolutely, and it's like hacking to see if you can do it. I mean, he looks after
hacking. That's it, ethical hacking.
Ethical hacking, and he looks after some of the world's leading organisations. I can't go into it, but some of it is under data protection, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah,
but he looks after some of the world's greatest firewalls and exposes any threats that are there to them. And when you get people like this that come along and then hack into something which has been proven to be pretty much unhackable, companies want to know, how are you doing it? So they want to send out a sharp message, don't they? If you're going to hack into us, we're going to catch you and you're going to pay a penalty. You can hide behind all these. Is it duck and cover? What you've mentioned this before, haven't you?
I don't know, but
duck and go.
He tried to sell all 117 million usernames and passwords on Russian language forms. Now, I wonder actually. See, there's ways that they could charge him. Is it 10 years for every username and 10 years for every password, or is it 10 years for every username and password combination? See, it could end up being 234 million times by 10.
Yeah. You see, plus some, right? That's
plus 10 because you got 5 years for each count of hacking and conspiracy. So plus at least another 10, almost guaranteed on top of that.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's incredible. That's absolutely incredible.
Yeah. And it's ongoing, right?
Yeah. So he was charged with 9 felony Okay, so he's already been charged with 9 felony counts back in 2016, actually. And he's since been incarcerated in multiple jails.
Yeah, that's
and
right.
And he was then extradited in 2018.
I mean, it's what you call a prolific offender, isn't he? Because he's not just done it once and been caught for it. He's done it several times, and he's faced it. And they're like, do you know what? Enough is enough. We are throwing the book at you, and not only are we throwing the book at you, we're going to make an example of you. Yeah, and
yeah,
well, there's rights and there's wrongs to that. You know, he's doing what these ethical companies are doing, but he's
profiting from it.
He's doing a personal gain. Look at all the problems that the banks had when they first originally set up online banking and all that sort of stuff. People's accounts were getting hacked left, right, and centre, and people were selling people's details. They still do it today. There's a lot of fraud out there, you know. And people, whoever is listening out there, keep yourself safe. Keep your password secure. Keep your account secure. Don't give your account details to anything that you're not 100% sure of. And if you're not sure of it, research it before you purchase something on it.
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
It is, doesn't it? It's but then with things like LinkedIn, Facebook, you feel secure with these things, don't you?
And the thing is, though, the best thing I find is to use a password manager. So I don't know a lot of my passwords. Actually, a lot of my passwords, I have no idea what they are. They're completely randomly generated. I don't look at them. I don't use them. So even if someone were to literally take me and, talk to me, try and take my thumb off or something to try and get my password, I would literally be unable to tell them. The only thing I'd be able to do is unlock my phone and give them my phone with usernames and passwords on them.
Yeah. Do you know what? I'm in two minds about password managers. One, I think, it could be good. Two, okay, it's a random generator. But again, it's an online thing. How secure is that, right? Personally, I struggle to find my passwords. And I'm aware of people who've got books. And in their books, they have their passwords. And it's like, well, that's okay. People like your house isn't being broken into and someone's stealing your password book.
Yeah, if someone literally sees that book, your passwords are all gone. You'll find them on the open web probably in a few days.
For sure, absolutely. It's one of those things. But let's face it, most of us, we forget our passwords from time to time. So you need something to secure it, right? So, yeah. But no, big case. And obviously it's something that's going to be discovered in September, isn't it?
Yeah, when the final verdict of how many years he's up to face is given, I will definitely be reporting on that, because we don't know how many years we could be seeing given to him. Now, I doubt he will get up to 10 years on each prison sentence. He's already got 170 million counts to his name. Yeah. So, in theory anyway, in theory.
In America, I've heard they've given people like 7 life sentences back to back. Yeah.
They do that. That's more for murders, but I think that happens. But this could still be very significant.
This is the one. It is significant. Yeah. I mean, it's a shot being sent out in breach of many people, actually. Do you know what? I was looking at this article earlier and I was reading it. In fact, no, it was a previous one, the Microsoft one. And I don't know if we're going to diversify or undiversify a little bit here, but you mentioned Facebook, and I was looking to see how they're using technology at the moment. So it kind of links. They're using...
Matt, you're cutting out again.
Yeah, I spotted that. But I spotted how they're using technology at the minute to, they're now using 85% renewable energy. Yeah,
that's incredible, but
it's another
that's
story.
Actually really good by them.
But I think it's really good, and I think more companies should be using technology out there in order to bring down their carbon emissions. Yeah, because it is a big thing at the minute. Okay, at the minute we're in a global pandemic. Yeah, for a horrible virus which is out there taking people's lives.
Yeah, can we not say the name? I'm not sure on the restrictions on the YouTube, and I do want to eventually upload all of my current back catalogue onto YouTube. It's been so glitchy recently.
That's fine. I'll keep that out. But we are in that global pandemic. But then there is something else which is there at the moment, isn't it? Which is, obviously there's
global warming.
But we're also looking at global warming. Global warming is a big thing, and technology plays a big part in that, doesn't it? We're sort of talking of cooling systems with massive servers, and it's how we're going to turn on keep those cool without, destroying massive natural resources. It's a big ethical dilemma, isn't it, for
Yeah.
technology? Anyway, we've probably diversified. I apologise.
Yeah. So we move on to our final topic of the day, then we can do some more just general discussion about random stuff, I'd say, yeah?
Let's do it. Let's go for it.
Okay, so this is literally just bordering on yesterday, actually. These stories were picked up very early this morning because there wasn't really much to talk about. But I saw these things. First things I saw when I woke up were these 3 things. And if you're a Fitbit user, then this one is directly for you, especially if you have a charge board. Because there's now a smart wake alarm and dynamic GPS in the latest software update.
Yeah.
So basically what these are going to do, now for those who don't know, actually quickly, just before we do go into Fitbit, Matt, have you heard about Fitbit being acquired by Google?
No, I didn't hear that actually.
Yeah, so Fitbit is in the process of being acquired by Google. I can't remember when the deal was meant to go through by, but currently there's a lot of skepticism around it because obviously that's abundances of health data going into Google's hands there.
Yeah, absolutely.
So how do you feel about that? Google having access to possibly loads of health data if you were to use a Fitbit? I know you don't, but if you were using a Fitbit, how would you feel?
Do you know what? You know my views on this anyway. Is because I can be, and I'm going to try not to get controversial, right? Okay, because I did promise you I wouldn't get controversial. Google has access to pretty much whatever you do online anyway, whether you're going incognito or not. Google knows what you're up to. Okay, well, if you got your device location switched off, they know where you are. Do you know what? I've got nothing to hide. I'm not worried one way or another, but when it comes down to your personal healthcare information, that is something. I mean, what is someone going to do? Oh, hold on, your heart rate has peaked at 7 o'clock in the morning, to X amount of beats per minute. I don't think if someone hacks into that information, with that information, what are they going to do with that? They're going to send you some maybe they're going to send you some health insurance notifications, right? Or if that's the case, that's the case. Or they're noticing, hold on, your beats per minute went up at 8 o'clock in the evening. Maybe it could be something you're eating. Maybe you should, hold back on the chocolate or something. Do you know what? Whatever they're doing, I don't have an issue with Google or any company there having access to my information. I'm using the device, and I'm going to say, and personally, you've heard me say this before, I believe every single human being should be chipped. That's complete controversy, right?
Okay, Matt, I'm going to cut you off right there. Sorry, but we will talk about that after we talk about this topic, because I want to talk about this topic quickly, okay? I'm not going to stop you from talking about that, because that is a very important discussion, especially going back to cybersecurity, and we will link that, because that can be linked. That's not controversial. I'm going to link that. That's not too controversial. That is a thing that a lot of people would we are already chipped in a way, and that will just make it permanent.
Yeah.
But basically, all that you need to know is that Google did already confirm that they won't use the data for ads or anything. And even though they already confirmed that in their original announcement, the EU is already looking into them for using it for ads. So, Google already, when they first came out of it, they said data won't be used for ads. A couple of months later, EU, hey, we're going to investigate Google for possibly using Fitbit health data for ads. Google already came out and said they wouldn't, but feel free to investigate it. It's worth it.
Do you know it's worthwhile being investigated, isn't it? Because it's there, isn't it? It's a health device. You're going to tell that device whether you want to turn around and lose weight, gain weight, bulk up, do 22 crunches in a day. It's there, and they're going to know. So you are opening yourself up to be targeted with adverts designed to help you lose weight, gain weight, or get that maximum six-pack. It's there.
And you know what? That could be a helpful thing to you. Maybe we should, maybe, and this could be seen as controversial, but you know what?
Yeah.
I'm going to throw it out there. Maybe they should allow an option.
Yes.
So instead of saying blanket, we won't use it for ads.
Right.
They allow an option, because what I would like actually is maybe a few ads directed towards my workout studies. Now, I personally use a Galaxy Watch, so I'm not going to be in this ballpark, but what I would like maybe if I'm a Fitbit user and this does happen is the option to just switch it on. Because say I'm working on a specific routine, I can maybe get an advert that tells me, hey, this thing is helpful. And as long as they're not those really bad, employee gets fired for creating amazing treadmill or something. Because I've seen a couple of those, and it's literally just looks like a scam. But as long as it's not one of those kind of adverts, it's proper workout reliable adverts, I don't mind seeing it. Now,
Yeah.
So, do we get into the actual update, though? I get into the actual update because this is nothing to do with what we're actually talking about.
No, we're going to start because from what I saw, the update, and what they were talking about was one of the things where it's going to actually set your alarm, isn't it, and your wake up call. Yeah. So your maximum amount of sleep. So it's going to help you to turn around and get, which is already built into some of them, isn't it? Yeah, because it knows that you've had maximum sleep, and when what's your deep sleep, what's your light sleep, and it measures it out and balances it and says, hey, you've had a good 7 hours sleep pattern, up you wake. Yeah, or I'm in two minds about this, whether that's a good thing or not. Being woken up at 2 o'clock in the morning, it's like, I've only been asleep for half an hour. How dare you wake me up telling me I've had maximum sleep? Or it decides at 7 o'clock in the morning or 6:30 in the morning, do you know what? You've not had maximum sleep. And it's like, well, hold on, I need to be getting up to go to work. No.
You can do a maximum alarm.
Yeah, you need it, so you can set a maximum alarm, which is a nice fail-safe, isn't it? But it's like, it's just in case it overrules it, it says, no, I'm going to let you sleep until 10 o'clock in the morning, and then you get tagged.
Oh my god, I mean, you've got to go to work, yeah. Definitely have your own manual alarm set. So that's the sleep wake feature, that's smart wake feature. It's a very cool addition.
Yeah.
So, another one,
because I think that was retailing about $160 as well, isn't it, over in the States? Is that right?
It's $150 over in the States. 150. Yeah. So,
which is a good price.
It's a very good price. So another feature about dynamic GPS. Now this is really good if you want to have a really good GPS for you to have. So generally GPSs on watches are not very accurate. I've noticed this on my Samsung watch. One time I'll do a run, it says 1k at one point, but then the next time I do it, I'll go at a bit of a faster speed, and the 1 key point will be another couple hundred meters along. I'm just like, where's 1k? Make up your mind. And it's really annoying because whilst it could be technically with where I've got my watch set up, and I might change that because it could just be because my watch actually locks when it thinks it's not actually on my wrist. It could be that doing it. But the point is, these can be slightly inaccurate, and it's not always their fault that they are inaccurate. It is just a fact, but it's still a thing. And this allowing it to connect with a phone's GPS is going to be really good.
I remember a friend of mine many years ago. He used to take people out on tours, pretty much around the country. The country we're in a minute, the UK, and he used to take people on all sorts of wonderful tours, Stonehenge, all these different places, and he used to use his GPS device. Now it would give him an instant download. It would tell him where things are, what he's doing, and where he is. And he used to use his start location, his end location, and that original device worked really well. But he said occasionally it's glitchy because, of course, you're sort of relying, on your global positioning, which is what it is, via a satellite link up. Am I right?
Exactly.
Yeah. And these things can be accurate. I mean, these days devices are more accurate to within tens of meters. But what is when that is actually miles, and it's like, well, I didn't start here. This is somewhere completely different, and you've never.
Yeah, it's so much more accurate now.
But that's what you're talking about, isn't it? You go for your jog, you finish your jog, and suddenly you've got lost somewhere in between. It's like, well, did I go 1.1 mile or did I go 10.1 miles? Yeah.
Yeah. And there are some other features on the Fitbit Charge 4 that it already has, but are useful to just let you know. So if you don't have Fitbit Charge 4, then other things for you to know are it has Spotify control, 7-day battery life, that's incredible.
Yeah.
And there are also some other premium features previously reserved for smartwatches from Fitbit.
That's pretty awesome. 7-day battery life alone is absolutely brilliant.
That's incredible. I definitely wouldn't mind that on my watch. I get my watch is normally on charge every night anyway because I don't really wear it for sleeping. I might give that a go over the summer holidays.
Right.
It's still like I never make it I would never make it a whole 2 days, I don't think, on my watch's battery life. So 7-day battery life on Fitbit Charge. I don't know if that includes sleeping or not. But again, sleeping is on reads up that energy, so I can imagine it probably could.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's kind of everything for today. So, Matt, how about we go back onto your chipping thing?
My chipping thing. Are you sure you want to go there? Because I can be a little bit draconian, I think people are saying.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure, actually. It's a bit of a touchy topic. So
it is a touchy topic. I think it's out there. I mean, we're talking about it at the moment, aren't they? People are saying, globally, we're coming to a time in a crisis where actually, and there are people talking out there, conspiracy theorists, should people be chipped? Shouldn't they be chipped? And you know what? This is one of those things, isn't it? Like you said, we're already technically chipped because we've all got mobile devices. So no matter who you are, where you are, they know where you are. Yeah.
If you've got a phone on you, if you've got a phone on you, if you've got a Google phone on you, more likely than an Apple phone, because Apple are quite restrictive of what they allow governments to access. There was a massive case about this not long ago.
I remember that. BlackBerry went through an issue actually when the BlackBerry phones used to be about. Talking several years ago, I think they went through a very similar issue, and there were certain countries that actually blocked BlackBerry. It's easy for some to say. I need to replace my T. They blocked BlackBerry or wouldn't allow those phones to be used within their country because of certain data protection. Because there was all sorts of stuff going on. Yeah. So. One thing about this, though, is I would personally argue that as long as you've got a phone with a GPS turned on, especially an Android phone, the only thing that will really happen is that it's going to be directly under your skin instead of on your phone. So you can't just accidentally leave your phone at home when you're about to go commit a crime. Yeah? Like, the only time I leave my phone at home is if I'm going on a run, in which case I'll normally have my watch on me, and I like to listen to music. Yeah.
Or if I'm maybe popping outside just in front of my house, where there'll be like 3 other people with me who can confirm where I am anyway, so it doesn't really matter. Yeah. And the fact is, I'll often bring my phone outside with me anyway when I'm with my mates, so it really is exactly the same whether I'm chipped or not chipped in terms of what access there can be to my location data. The only thing that will worry me about it is if a criminal manages to hack into the live feed and get access to everyone's data really easy. That's the only thing, if a hacker manages to access it, which is almost a guarantee.
That's the one, isn't it? Because we're just talking about that in the case of this Russian guy. It is something which people could look at, and who looks after that information, who is protecting that information, who are the keepers of your personal whereabouts and locations. Now, I've often only said that the only people who need to worry about those things are the people who are up to no good and misbehaving. Yeah. Because I've always viewed chipping, and it was my naivety when I first entered the discussion and the debate around this was, well, actually, from a safety point of view, at least then we can protect the greater environment and people out there. So if people are, if there is a crime that happens, if a bank has been has been robbed, someone's child has been stolen, or if, a crime has occurred and someone's house is broken into, or a car has been stolen, you can see by the location of all those who were chipped, who was in that area at the time. And then you can do a process of elimination. Who are we going to look at as potentially being culprits? So therefore, it actually saves up on police time. It saves up on wasted resources, and it's a money-saving way of potentially looking after a state. Yeah.
See, there's two sides to it. There's two sides to it, in my opinion. So, as you were just saying, in terms of process of elimination, I think a really good way to do this is, say you've got someone who's a known criminal. Yeah. And because with chipped, it will come up as, hey, this person's a known criminal, and they're in the area. So you can first look at the known criminals. And then from those known criminals, you can then say, okay, which one of them have kind of got a resume that would suit the crime that was committed? Yeah. So say it's a burglary. Yeah. If it's a burglary or a robbery, one or the other, if they are different crimes, then either of them, if they've got something that would kind of suggest that they're willing to do either of those on them, then you go, okay, let's talk to them. We're not going to say they're a suspect or anything, but let's have a chat. We're not going to arrest them or anything. All we have is that they were in the area. We would need more evidence. But let's take a look. See if they know what happened there. See what they can say about it. See if they give a really vague description or if they give a really accurate description. See what they can kind of give us. It gives you a process of elimination.
It does, and it could, and it can breach human rights in the fact that actually, and it could be viewed as sometimes harassment from that, because like you say, let's take a look at the known criminals, but then most of the time there's that massive quantity of unknown people who are out there committing crimes, and in essence it could be, hey, it's like, hey man, you know that I've done this, and I don't know why I'm doing this voice, but there it is. It's just a generic voice. Hey man, you're harassing me, man. It's like I was nowhere near the scene. It's like, well, you were actually near the scene, but maybe actually that person didn't have. So I mean, there is that human rights violation, harassment case, but potentially, I think for those who have been, who are known as prolific offenders, those who are on that assessment are being viewed and looked at all the time, or have problems. I need to be careful of what I'm saying. It's got to be PC. Those who,
those who are prolific offenders, those people. You have to be careful with whether you just go, okay, you're a previous offender, we just go pick you up. You can't do that, But what it does allow is it allows you to see people who are there. If it's someone who got a relationship to a previous offender, it allows you to see a lot of things that might be related. And you could also triangulate it with cell phone footage, security camera footage. And you can kind of corroborate it with other things in the environment and see who went in what direction.
And this is the one, because it actually enables you to turn around and actually reduce, limit, and actually protect an environment. And I think when we're talking about protection of the environment, it comes paramount. Now, it doesn't matter if a person's a known criminal or non-criminal, or if anyone's in the area and if something has happened in that area, and if it's a heinous crime of some effort. People get stabbed, don't they? I was reading, there was that case of people that were stabbed recently in Reading. It's like during a case of lockdown, and it made public news. It's like, well, do you know what? That's quite shocking. Everyone's supposed to be in lockdown anyway. How has a crime of that magnitude happened? Well, it has. So if people were chipped, then we would know who was in that area at the time, and potentially who it is that's actually responsible for doing that crime. Because there are crimes. There's knife crime going on out there. There's gun crime, across the states, and it is growing here in the UK. Most of it goes unreported. You'd be able to find out a lot more. And I think we all want to live in a world where we can enjoy ourselves, but we all need to stay safe. It's an ethical issue, and like I said, I don't mean to be too controversial, and I apologise for bringing what is a really good tech discussion forum, which is yours, maybe into controversy by discussing this. But I think, like you said, people these days have to admit they are a little bit naive if they think that actually they're not being tracked already anyway, because they've got their phones.
Okay, there is a small thing. I think we should kind of end it. Let's end it here, because we are breaching on that sort of thing now, I think. But at the end of the day, the difference between a chip in your arm and having your phone on you all the time is minimal. It is. It's minimal. If you really want it, then they can just make a law that allows them to access location data whenever they want it, wherever they want it. They can just completely take out the laws they've already got protecting that information and put in a new law allowing police to access it whenever they want without a warrant. If they really wanted to, they could do that. The fact is, they haven't. So unless there's something going to change their minds and do that, I can't see chips becoming any more likely. But I think this has been a really interesting discussion, and this is now almost a 50-minute episode. I think this is officially the longest episode I've had. And
that's probably because I've kept you waffling, and I apologise, Luke, and I am sorry for that.
No, don't worry.
I have a habit of digressing and going elsewhere into another realm, which was like, Matt, we weren't talking about that. We were talking about something else. But but it's a massive field, isn't it? And so much tech relates to other tech, and you can bring it into other realms. So, Luke, thank you for inviting me onto your show today. It's been an honour. Thank you. It's
been really good to have you on here, and I think if it's okay with you, then we will do a couple more of these.
If you're happy, and hopefully if you don't get a load of emails saying who was that guy who bang out of order.
Yeah. Well, we're going to listen to it again anyway, and we could re-record for all we know. We're going to listen to it again.
Okay.
Yeah, we want to make sure we haven't gone too off. Yeah. Don't forget.
Okay.
But yeah, we will listen to it again, and as long as we're both happy to it, then we're going to listen to this for like an hour. We're going to be on the phone till like 9:30.
Cool. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. This is Dynamic Digital World. My name is Luke. The guest on today has done an absolutely amazing job. When I've just thrown him completely in the deep end is Matt.
Thank you, Luke.
And yeah, it's been good to have you on here.
Thank you. And thanks to all the listeners for tuning into this. It's, I hope I've not ruined your evening entertainment. I hope you've got something. Thank you. Yeah.
I'll see you all in tomorrow's episode. And as for Matt, I'll speak to you after we end this recording.
Beauty. Cheers, brother. Cool.
Yeah.